Well, a new W5 investigation is looking into the story of the parents who have been fighting for a decade to save their son accused of being a terrorist. Jack Letts has spent 7.5 years detained without charge in a secret prison in northeast Syria. Well, he is accused of being a member of ISIS, but has never been tried or convicted. Letts claims he was fleeing ISIS after being targeted for speaking out against the group. Well, we're joined by W5's Avery Haynes to tell us more about the tomorrow night's documentary. Amazing story here. But first off, take us from the beginning. How did this young man end up in Syria? Why did he go there? And where is he being held?
So he, at the age of, first of all, he's British Canadian until the UK revoked his British citizenship in 2019. So now he really is a Canada-only problem. His parents tell the story of how he was this outgoing, gregarious young boy. By the age of 14, he was diagnosed as having obsessive-compulsive disorder severely. By 16, he had converted to Islam. And by 18, 10 years ago, he called his parents from Syria saying, I've come here to help the people of Syria in ISIS territory. He's being held in one of 29 secret prisons that dot the desert in northeast Syria. And these prisons have, and this is just astounding, it was to me when I learned about it, 10,000 foreigners, suspected ISIS members, are being held in this incredibly unstable region in northeast Syria in what counterterrorism experts say is a ticking time bomb, because ISIS keeps trying to break them out, and they've been very successful.
And there's been some just updates within the last 48 hours of Kurdish forces moving in closer towards Aleppo. You have to assume that's going to make things even more challenging to try to get this boy home. But let's talk about the father for a bit. Where do things stand with the parents? I can only assume that they've reached out to the federal government, the foreign affairs minister, to try and get some help. Have they done that? What's been the reaction of the federal government?
So this family has launched what is a decade-long battle to try to save their son. The reality is most people are going to hear this story, and right now they're saying in their heads, you know what? He went to Syria, let him rot there. The parents' argument is innocent until proven guilty. He's never been charged with a crime. No evidence has been presented that he committed any crime beyond the crime of going into ISIS territory. The Canadian government's policy is a bit contradictory when it comes to women, so-called ISIS brides, and their children. They describe as courageous their decision to bring those women back to Canada. Some of them have been charged with terror-related charges. Some of them are under peace bonds. But for the male detainees, they have really turned their back. They've banished them there in Syria.
Is this where this individual is being held? Is this kind of like a Guantanamo Bay of the Middle East? How would you compare it? Because it seems like, there's a lot of people there being held without charges. If they did something, they still have their day. They should have their day in court and face these charges. How would you describe where he's being held?
It's a really good question, and it's not just as though it is a mini Guantanamo Bay. There are 29 of them, and these have been described not only as breeding grounds for extremism, but obviously like ticking time bomb if they get out. This is the largest concentration of suspected militants in one place in the world, 10,000. And ISIS, I went on this Kurdish convoy searching for ISIS sleeper cells through this region. What they uncover, suicide vests, ammo, AK-47s, really hardcore weaponry, because ISIS is sort of re-emerging in this area.
You mentioned that, there's a lot of Canadians that are going to hear the story and they might just say, forget about him. Just in the last couple of months, Avery, we've had not one, not two, but there have been 3 terrorist threats directed from ISIS, allegedly, here in Canada that have been thwarted, that were expected to be mass murder events, specifically targeting the Jewish community. How much, given what's unfolded, where public sentiment is right now on immigration, how likely do you think it's going to be to get Jack Letts repatriated home?
I think that the initial reaction that most people have about let him rot there is going to be the reaction that the government has, because the will is not there to return them. And when I asked Jack about that, there are people who will want you to rot here. I asked his parents and their lawyer. The lawyer said to me, well, that's a fine thing to think until it's your son. And when it's your son, all of a sudden it's different. And how do we support a system that says, I believe you committed a crime, therefore I will detain you and keep you in jail indefinitely because I believe you committed a crime.
Avery, when can people watch this?
Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. on CTV.
Bravest reporter I know, W5's Avery Haynes. Thank you so much. Always appreciate the chats, and thanks for coming in. Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much, and welcome to our world here.
Yeah,
Nice new set.
We're liking the new building a lot. Thanks for joining us,
Thank
Avery.
you.